Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Saleem.
Walaikum assalam.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah, how about you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah too. Okay, Dr. Saleem, today I'm here with a big protest, a huge protest. Now, as we grow up, we are finding different activities and struggling for mental peace and everything. So there's something very crucial regarding it. Those are pets. And in pets, we have cute, adorable puppies. So when we go to our parents and make a puppy eye and say to them that, please, mom, dad, get us a dog, they say that it is not allowed in Islam. So is it really so? And they say the angels are scared of the dogs and things. So is it true?
Well, Isabel, I would say that amongst the issues that have really confounded Muslims, and I think they have gone very far in their misconception, is this issue of innocent dogs. I mean, I call them innocent because over those last 14 centuries, they have really suffered at the hands of Muslims especially. And that is by not understanding certain narratives of the Prophet, and those narratives have a very specific context. But before I explain their context, I think one thing that we need to understand is that as far as dogs are concerned, they have absolutely the same status as any other pet. Like, for example, cats that you keep, your domesticated cats, as long as you have trained dogs, they can even roam around inside your homes if they are properly trained. The misconception that has arisen is that dogs are somehow impure, their saliva is impure, and the other thing, as you rightly said, is that perhaps houses which have dogs as pets, yes, they say that you can keep dogs as hunting animals or as protection, for your protection.
If you don't have guards, guards in your society.
I mean, whether you have guards or not, they would still allow, well, okay, you can have them as your protectors. But as pets who can roam around in your own house, they would say that this is something that would actually infuriate God, and angels will not step into such houses. So the first thing that we have to understand is that this concept of impurity, it has to be really looked into very deeply, and I'll start off by looking into the Quran actually. So the Quran says that the animal who is used as hunting a prey, and if that happens to be a dog, then if that dog catches an animal and you are able to, slaughter that animal that he has caught, then even then, if you've not been able to do so and your dog has done so and the animal dies in this case, then yes, it will be considered as a halal animal. So you see, this is that we have to understand that the saliva, had it been impure, had it been something which is filthy, the Quran would never have said that. So there is a whole passage in the Quran which tells us that hunting dogs, or dogs which are used for hunting, they can be used for this purpose, and this is like the knowledge that God has taught you. Mukallibina tu'allimun Allah, that you, the word mukallibun, which is actually how do you train your dogs, is said that this is something from the knowledge that God has taught you. And so therefore, I think the first thing that we have to understand is that dogs in no way are impure the way we think. The second thing that has perhaps caused this concept is that on one occasion in a hadith narrative, it is said that if a dog actually inserts his face in a utensil and you see that has happened, then you have to really wash it. And ultimately, the last time that you wash it, you should actually scrub it with mud, which gives the impression that maybe the dog is filthy or something impure about him that has occasioned this remark. However, if you look at all the narratives, we do find that this is not the case. It does seem that there was a rabid dog maybe, or a dog which had some disease about which it was being talked about. Otherwise, if you look at this narrative in the light of the Quran, which clearly says that the saliva of a dog is not at all impure, then this narrative has to be understood on the sense that it was basically some disease in that dog because of that particular occasion that a dog was or a dog utensil was required to be cleaned. And also we have to remember that hadiths are situational. If they don't give a sort of a statement in which they are commenting on a complete in a complete way. They are normally commenting on a particular situation, and the situation which this narrative shows is most probably the dog himself was rabid, and hence because rabies is a contagious disease, it can be transmitted through the utensil. So of course it was understandable that the utensil was cleaned. And the second narrative which is thought so to be equally binding that we should not keep dogs is the one that you just referred to, that houses which have dogs in them, other than for the purpose that I just cited, then angels will not tread such a place. And this would, of course, be something which is unthinkable for a Muslim, because everyone was like that angels should come to our houses. So if you look at all the narratives, all the variants of that narrative, and this itself is a principle in understanding hadith, that you must not understand hadith from a few narrations of an incident. You must gather all the narrations of a particular incident. And when we do so, we come to realize that this is not at all a question that was related to all the angels. It was the fact that Gabriel, who once wanted to visit the Prophet and deliver maybe something of a revelation or maybe some guidance, he did not come as promised. And when he did not come and the Prophet wanted to know what happened, so he actually pointed out that there was a dead puppy that was beneath his bed. And of course, that dead puppy not only was there, but there was also some stink, which perhaps was the reason that he had actually relieved himself when he beneath the bed. And that is why Gabriel said that because of my own fine taste, it's very difficult to me to come to this situation. So that was actually generalized in a wrong way. And instead of thinking that basically what was being said is that it was a situation between Gabriel and the Prophet himself. It got generalized to every angel of God, and it got generalized to every puppy, whether regardless of the fact it was trained or not. So I think if we are able to understand these two narratives, we can clearly see that the question of keeping a dog is no different than keeping any other pet. Yes, you must potty train it. Yes, you must train it in other ways. And yes, of course, you have to be a kind, gentle, patient, caring, as is the case with all pets. You should have it vaccinated. You should have it trained. And if that happens, then there is absolutely no reason for not keeping a dog. And as I said earlier on, this is a very touching tale of dog oppression that we have actually penned with our attitude, and I think we need to seriously revisit this attitude.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saleem. So this means that was a specific decorum of revelation from the Archangel and the Holy Prophet, and in not every house, it's not daily something that is happening.
And that too related to, of course, as you said, Gabriel himself visiting the Prophet. It's not something that happened for every angel. And it was basically his taste that he actually divulged. And this often happens in narratives, that things become generalized. A one-off incident would be narrated as if it is something that
is a legacy.
It's a legacy maybe, or something which is rampant in the society.
Right. And secondly, even if not Gabriel, if we find there is stink and such things in any house, we would personally avoid to go there.
This is a personal hygienic question that every one of us would try not to do.
Yes.
Who's going to put up with such things? So I think that's very common human general experience, that whenever you find something, you'll always have it clean. And obviously, you will never keep a dog, not even a cat, not even any other animal, if that animal is not potty trained, if that animal is not properly, given this sense. So if that doesn't happen with other animals, who would like to keep such an animal?
Exactly. Now, as this dog issue is resolved, if the parents, we would go to them and they won't get us a puppy, then someone would say, okay, at least purchase us a cat. So then they will come up with another hadith and they will say that purchasing a cat is sin, and the Holy Prophet scolded because somebody for talking about purchasing a cat. So is it really so?
There is no such authentically reported incident in which the Prophet stopped purchasing a cat, or even a dog for that matter. How else would we keep cats other than by purchasing it? We just cannot keep stray cats.
Exactly.
So we have to buy cats. We have to breed dogs and cats and horses and sheep and cows and animals like domesticated animals. And people who professionally do it, they'll only do it when they are allowed to have to sell them. If they're allowed to sell them. If they are not allowed to sell them, why at all would they indulge in this profession?
Yeah. Okay, now if this pet issue is resolved, there is another thing, tattoos. Now, in this generation, people really like to be very rad and stylish and cool. So when they go to their parents, especially boys, and they say, we want to get a tattoo, they say, it is haram in Islam. So when I say this personally, tattooing my arm or anything doesn't impact my purity, my deeds or anything. So is it really the case?
Again, this is issue that has been grossly misunderstood. And once again, the reason of that misinterpretation is not understanding the hadith of the Prophet. So tattoos are not discussed anywhere in the Quran. It is a hadith of the Prophet which supposedly says that someone who does so is cursed by God. But if you examine the narratives and relate them to the Quran, because there is a Quranic verse cited when these narratives are also mentioned, it clearly shows that the tattoos in question are not ordinary tattoos. The tattoos in question are the ones that people would worship. I mean, there would be tattoos of entities that would be worshipped.
The deities.
Like deities. So, of course, that's very understandable that why would you print a tattoo on your own or etch them on your own body? Because, of course, they are going to ignite worshipping sentiments. And this is precisely the same as what we say regarding the prohibition of portraits and pictures. So, like portraits and pictures are absolutely allowed. There's no problem if people make portraits or they use their cameras to make portraits or pictures, as long as these pictures and portraits are not of things that are generally worshipped, because then this might lead to worship. So this is also a precautionary directive that when you make these things which can lead people to worship them, you should not do them. So tattoos bear this label of prohibition only when they are of such deities maybe, and also of course if they are made on your skins, on limbs which should be hidden at times. You see, they also promote vulgarity at times. So as long as there is no immorality about those tattoos, and as long as they don't ignite any worshipping sentiments, ordinary tattoos that you can maybe paste on your forehead or your wrist or maybe your palm or anywhere, like your arm, something, or some such limbs, they don't bear any level of prohibition. And again, this is a question of misinterpretation.
Okay, now you said there's something which is not remotely something that is worshipping. What if somebody is having a very twisted taste in tattoos? Like they want to get one eye or something like that. And then people can join and say, oh, you work for the Illuminati, or you work for this and you work for that. So, but that person doesn't believe in such stuff, and they just feel that a gothic taste they have. So can you get something gothic which you don't believe to be a worshipping idol, but others do?
This is a situation of exercising caution or precaution. There could be a person who says that I don't think that there's going to be anything wrong if I wear it or if I have it etched. Yes. And there could be someone who would say that, well, as a precautionary thing, because there are other people who have some reverence attached to it or maybe some sentiment attached to it, it's better to abstain from it. So I think there could be a room for difference of opinion. And in this matter, a person should best trust his or her gut feeling, I would say.
That is really nice, that doing wrong as shamans do. Okay, now one last thing, which is regarding the women. Now, we tend to be, any human being, man or woman, they want to be presentable when they go outside. So some women are having really bushy eyebrows. And when they tend to make their face presentable, seeable by getting rid of that, or they have extra facial hair, the religious clerics say that you are going to hell because of plucking. So now that woman will say the punishment of zina, of adultery, and all these things, of murder, everything is hell. And I, who is offering prayer, taking care of my chastity, but who is just plucking my eyebrows so I should not look like a bear, and you're telling me I will go to hell. So what is the reality in this?
Again, something that has been the subject of wrong interpretation, and that too from a hadith. So plucking itself is not mentioned anywhere in the Quran. There's one narrative, which is, one category of narratives which says that allegedly that plucking is not allowed. And the word used is tanammus actually. So tanammus in the Arabic language, if you pick up any Arabic lexicon, you'll see that it's like having a particular hairstyle in which there would be hair. At times it would be edged off from one side, and it would present sort of a twisted appearance. So the Prophet was actually talking about tanammus, and that was erroneously understood that he was talking about eyebrows, or maybe stopping people from plucking those eyebrows. If you look at the word tanammus, it's a common Arabic word. It's not at all related to eyebrows. It's related to a particular hairstyle that looks quite odd, and it looks like something is offset. So, and that again is something which we have to understand, is that at times the Prophet professes abhorrence or shows his abhorrence for things because things they don't fall in the whole scheme of human nature. So it was more like of tanammus, the meaning being that you have a distorted haircut that was under question, and plucking of eyebrows as far as women are concerned. They are free to pluck their eyebrows. And of course, if they are, as you said, a lot, they're bushy eyebrows, or they feel like, obviously every woman is concerned about her looks, and there's absolutely nothing wrong if they pluck their eyebrows.
Okay, thank you so much. So there is another thing regarding this. So there is something that we have heard most of religious clerics talking about, that the Prophet, peace be upon him, was a dread when he said that when the time will be near, men will dress like women and women would dress like men. Now, if a girl, by accident, she wants to wear jeans, they will say, you're dressing like a man. If she wants to get a short bob or short haircut, they're gonna say that you are dressing like a man. So, can it not just be a fashion thing instead of just gender labeling that this is men, this is woman? What
Yes,
do you
correct.
say?
You see, I mean, when the Prophet said that you should not make the appearance of a woman, or a woman should not make the appearance of a man, that is something which relates to a deep philosophical belief, I would say, and that is that you have to accept the scheme of God regarding you. So if he made you a man, you should not wish to become a woman, and if he's made you a woman, you should not wish to become a man. It's as simple as that. When you dress in a way that is absolutely specific to a woman, I mean, wearing jeans or having a particular hairstyle is not specific to women. But for example, if you start maybe having makeup or lipstick
A ball gown.
or something which is very, very specific to women, then that is something that has to be, treated in a way that you have to understand that your sentiments should not express the fact that you are dissatisfied as your gender being a man and you'd like to dress as a woman, and vice versa as well. So basically, what the Prophet was cautioning us and prodding us about was that you should accept God's scheme regarding gender selection. And when you dress in an extreme way, such that you exhibit as if you are a woman, it reflects that dissatisfaction with God's scheme, and that should not be done. And I think that's a very fair thing to say.
Yes, I agree with. So it's all right unless a man does not dress with fairy wings and a ball gown.
Something which
it is
absolutely
okay.
becomes, for example, if a man starts wearing printed clothes, absolutely printed clothes, or starts wearing a sari, for example, as Indian women do.
Or a set of fairy wings or something
fairy
like
wings.
that.
So you see, these things which have now become labeled precisely to the feminine gender, and vice versa as well. So I think this, as I said, it's more philosophical, that you should be content with the scheme of God, and that is that He has made you in a particular gender, and you should accept that gender and then move on in life.
Okay, so there is one last thing about perfume. Now you know that being a human being, we are very much tended towards beautiful scents. So when men wear perfume or cologne, it's fine, but when women who are by nature really tilted towards perfumes and scents and flowers, when they put on a perfume, they are being told that this is just as you, if a man likes the scent of your perfume, then you have to take a bath and this and that. So how is that fair that a man can, or is it that are the religious clerics expecting that a woman cannot be attracted towards a man's cologne, but a man can be? So what is that?
I think again, it's more of a question of intention. When you wear a cologne specifically with the intention that you are going to show certain or throw certain tantrums or maybe try to attract the opposite gender, it's like I would say against dignity maybe, or it's against elegance, the elegance that a woman should have, that she now has some ulterior motive. It's not that she's wearing a perfume for the sake of smelling well, but she is something more than that. She has some intention more than that. And this could be from the man's side as well. If your intention is not just to look good maybe or look fresh, but you have something additional attached to it, then it becomes questionable. And that too, the nature of that thing being questionable should not be disproportionate. Small things should not be graded as big evils. So this is of course a deviation, but it's a deviation that could lead to a bigger deviation. So as I said, these are more precautionary things, and they are subtle also, and a lot relies on your intention as well.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saleem. You cleared a lot of the problems, and I call off for my protest. See you, inshallah, next time. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Thank you.